Hey there, Safe Sauce. Martin here. It's time for some trash talk.
Sweet, okay. Your mom is so...
Wait. I meant talking about trash. Sorry. Trash, huh? Trash is something humans are really good at creating. It was estimated that 2.6 trillion pounds of garbage were generated worldwide in 2012. That is the equivalent of the weight of 7,000 Empire State Buildings. All this trash has to go somewhere, but where does it go? It is estimated that half of all this trash comes from countries in the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, such as the United States, United Kingdom, and Australia. But there are 31 other countries in that list. Organic trash, such as foods, make up 46% of all the waste, and things like plastic and paper make up another 27%. But how come we don't see all of it? I mean, not only we don't see everyone's waste, but we barely see our own waste. Where does it go? We know it starts by getting thrown in our garbage cans at home until they get filled up. We then take that full bag and throw it into a bigger container that usually sits outside of our homes. It collects all our other filled garbage bags until it too eventually gets filled up with all these other filled up garbage bags. Once filled, this larger container gets picked up by your local waste management company, and all that garbage in it gets dumped inside a garbage truck where it gets compressed. We have all seen it in action, or at least heard the garbage truck working. The truck comes and takes the garbage away, but where does the truck go? Where is it taking all our trash? Well, after taking the trash through a ride around town, the trash goes to a transfer station where local trash is dumped before it gets transferred to its final destination. Transfer stations collect waste from different parts of the city and use machinery to compact it and prepare it to be taken to a landfill, a recycling center, or an incinerator. The final destination of the waste will depend on the content of the waste. Recyclable items will be directed to a recycling facility. Medical and hazardous waste, along with some municipal waste, gets sent to be incinerated. And all else is taken to a landfill where it gets buried underground forever. So the waste will go to one of these three places, right? Well, that is if we are disposing of it properly. Many places aren't well regulated, nor are the people well educated on the proper disposal of waste. So it gets thrown away on the streets and begins collecting in very unsanitary conditions. Luckily, here in the US, most part of the country has a pretty decent waste management system that keeps all that trash under control. Well, kinda. I say kinda because there's no way that is 100% efficient in getting rid of trash. One way or another, the process of disposing it pollutes the earth. So let's take a look at the processes used today: incineration, recycling, and landfills. Incineration. Incineration is mostly used for medical and hazardous waste. It is the least used method of waste management. It basically burns the waste away and converts it into ash, flue gas, and heat. Although this heat can be used to generate electric power, called waste energy, there is too much debate on whether or not this method of waste management is actually polluting the environment more than it's cleaning it. Recycling. Recycling is our most efficient and productive way of managing waste. After recyclable products get collected and processed, they get cleaned and sorted. Recycling retrieves the raw materials used to make the products and send it to be manufactured into recycled products. This process is done by breaking down, melting, or smelting the product into its basic elements. Landfills. A landfill is a large piece of land that is used to be filled with waste. There are several thousand landfills in the world. The first modern sanitary landfill was opened in 1937 in Fresno, California. In 1979, sanitary criteria were developed with several restrictions created by the EPA. Part of these restrictions were the control of methane, groundwater protection, and open fires. The estimated monitoring period for a landfill is of 30 years. After that, it is presumed that the landfill will be stable and no longer require intensive monitoring. In the US alone, in 2001, there were about 1,850 municipal solid waste landfills. Landfills are the most common method of waste disposal, despite the fact it takes hundreds of years for the waste to break down. The area used by landfills will later on be reused in 3 different categories. A Category 1 landfill will be used to create open spaces such as cemeteries, hiking trails, and etc. A Category 2 landfill will be used for paving, golf courses, or ski slopes. A Category 3 landfill will be used to create stadiums, shopping centers, archive buildings, etc. To understand the process more accurately, let's take a look at how the waste is disposed of in a landfill, but keep in mind this illustration can be a little different from landfill to landfill. It only represents the basic idea behind using landfills as waste management. So let's start from the bottom. At the very bottom is native soil. This soil gets prepared as needed before beginning landfill construction. A layer of compacted clay is added to prevent leakage from leaving the landfill and entering the environment. A thick plastic layer called geomembrane is used to line the compacted clay. This membrane helps prevent the escape of landfill gas. Surrounded by a bed of gravel is perforated pipes that transport collected leachate to specifically designed points called sumps, where the leachate gets removed with the use of pumps. Above the gravel, you will find a geotextile filter. This fabric, similar in appearance to felt, separates solids from liquids to avoid clogging of the pipe system. Using sand and gravel or a thick plastic mesh called geonet, leachate gets collected and drained through gravity to reach the leakage pipe system. Finally, compacted waste gets added in layers within a small area. The waste is then topped with a daily cover with 6 to 12 inches of approved soil. This helps reduce odors, keeps the waste together, and keeps scavengers away. Another layer of compacted waste gets added in layers. Another layer of daily cover with 6 to 12 inches of approved soil is put on top. When the landfill reaches a certain height, it gets covered up and sealed with a layer of compacted clay. This prevents excess precipitation from entering the landfill and forming leakage, while preventing the escape of landfill gas, thus reducing odors. Another geomembrane is used over the compacted clay. This prevents precipitation from entering the landfill and keeps the landfill gas from exiting, thus reducing odors. A drainage layer of sand and gravel or a thick plastic mesh called geonet drains excess precipitation from the layer above to enhance the stability and prevent filtration of water through the landfill cap system, while providing additional moisture retention, which in turn helps support the cover vegetation. The protective cover soil protects the landfill cap system. A topsoil holds moisture and nutrients. It is added to help maintain the growth of vegetation. And finally, a cover of native vegetation is added as portions of the landfill gets completed. This makes the area visually pleasing and prevents the erosion of the layers below. Much of the trash that is improperly disposed ends up in the oceans, polluting the water and creating huge negative impact in all marine and sea life. According to an estimate published by the journal Science, about 4.8 to 12.7 million metric tons of plastic can be found in the oceans. Remember, there are almost 200 countries in the world, and half of all the waste comes from only 34 of them. So know the impact you have on the earth and try your best to lessen your waste. And as always, thanks for watching.